I was on mute. Good evening, everyone. Happy Wellness Wednesday. I'm going to give everyone a chance to get in the room and play a little music for you while we wait. Hopefully, you can hear it okay. Let's see. And some positive vibes your way on this Wellness Wednesday. Okay. Welcome in, welcome in. Let me know if you're joining me today, where you're joining me from. Give you a moment to get in the room and get your books. Yay, welcome, Simone. Awesome. All right, let's get started, y'all. Welcome in, welcome in. If you are joining me tonight, let me know where you're joining from. It's Wellness Wednesday, and we are going to continue on with our book, What Would the Rockefellers Do by Garrett Gunderson. I think I got his name right for the first time. So today I'm just opening up my book, and I got a third screen, y'all, but I just detached it. So we're going to be on chapter 10 today. And chapter 10, don't you worry if you don't have the book, because you know I'm going to hook you up. All right. Chapter 10 is kind of long. I'm trying to get back to the beginning because, I just finished reading chapter 10 today, so it's fresh in my mind. It's called Find the Money to Fund Your Life and Legacy. Hey, Errol, what's up? Peace from down south. Lucky you, Errol. I wish I was, down by a beach somewhere. Praise the Lord for a beach, okay? I cannot wait to go back to a beach. All right. We're going to jump in to find the money to fund your life and legacy. And so Errol here, I loved his teaching that he did a while back on how to build your capital base. So that's what this chapter reminded me of, because anytime you're doing any wealth building, you need some type of capital base, right? And you're going to exchange one asset for another asset. So like, for example, when you're purchasing real estate, right? Yes, Simone, yes, find the money, right? When you're purchasing real estate, right? You have an asset of cash that you use to put your down payment with, right? Or maybe you sell some stocks or something and you use that to get another asset. So that's how I want you to think of it. You want to build a capital base so that you can acquire additional assets. Why do we want to acquire assets? Let me know in the chat. What do y'all think? Why do we want to acquire assets? What is that going to do for us? So I'm going to read some of the excerpts from the book as I usually do, and then we're going to debrief his thoughts, and then I'll share my thoughts, and then I would love to know y'all thoughts in the chat. So he says, you may be thinking, whole life sounds great, but it's expensive, because it is. That is a true statement. So where do I find the money to start my legacy, fund my policy, and build my fortune? So he has this concept called mindful cash management, which I really, really like. Um, Mindful management consists of prioritizing investing, right? So, that concept of pay yourself first, profit first, pay you first. So, if anybody asks me what's my order, I pay God, then I pay me, then I pay my bills. And I know that's a revolutionary concept for a lot of people, but guess what? Everybody else, look, these gas companies, light companies, all these companies, they still gonna be going whether I pay them or not. Now I do pay my bills. Don't get me wrong. But if I always wait until I pay everybody else and then save the leftovers for me, what if there are no leftovers? So that's not gonna work, right? And then, that's not the case, but it depends on where you are in your financial journey. He talks about different cash flow recovery strategy. So we'll talk about that today. And then he says you want to manage your plan with 3 or 4 specific accounts, right? Because I notice sometimes when I'm working with clients, they have like 100 checking accounts and 100 savings accounts. I'm like, you don't need to be spreading your money that thin, right? Especially if it's not making you no money to have to manage all of that. So let's jump into the mindful cash management. Okay, so this is really fun. So I'm going to use the whiteboard today, and y'all feel free to chime in the chat with any questions that you have, and then any thoughts you have around what we're talking about today. So I know some people are going to join us on Zoom, and some people are going to join us on YouTube. So welcome in, Denise. Feel free to use the chat. So we're going to get started now with the whiteboard. So that's what I'm trying to pull up now, and I'm gonna break down some of his concepts. Y'all, they didn't change Zoom, and it just confuses me. I had everything memorized, and now it's like, where are the things? So I'm gonna do text. I know Errol is so fast with that pen. I don't know how you do that, Errol, but I gotta type. If y'all want anything to be in any type of efficient, I'm a fast typer. So this is his mindful cash management strategy. The focus here is expansion over restriction. So, how many of you like to budget? Put it, let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you like to budget. Put a 2 in the chat if you're like, that's restrictive to me. Let me know how y'all feel about that. I personally don't like to use the word budget. The word that I use is spending plan. Okay. So let me know. What do y'all think? 1, you like to budget. 2, hey Jen, you feel the word budget is too restrictive. Let me know in the chat. So I love his concept. So I'm going to break his concept down. He says that first and foremost, this is an expanded mindset, not a restrictive mindset. Look, Simone is like, nope. Ah, Jen says she likes feminine finance with me. Praise God. Denise uses a budget. Excellent. And look, some people, yes, I use a spending plan, right? Because I'm the CEO of my finances. I tell my money where to go, right? That's what I do. So he talks about being aware, right? Where is your money going? Is it working for you? Is it not working for you? What needs to change? Because really, just, when you're looking at your money and you might say, oh, I'm spending $1,000 a month on eating out. That's an awareness, and you may want to reduce that down to $200 a month, right? Because that other 800 could be used to build what? Your capital base, right? To get other assets. And he talks about creating automation, because we know that anything that we do in life has to do with being consistent, doing the same great things over and over consistently without having to think about it. If you got to think about saving, if you have to think about investing, if it's not something you particularly enjoy, then you may not be doing it, right? So, no, it's not you, Simone. I think it's a delay, if I'm not mistaken, because it looks like on YouTube, y'all can only see where it says add text. And let me see if I can get it to show what I'm typing. Oh, that's very odd. Let's see if I do that and I do. Oh, with the whiteboard, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close it, and then I'm gonna share it again, because sometimes it is not the friendliest thing. Okay, existing whiteboard. Here we go. All right, let's see if that worked. So, just so you know what I wrote the title, which is Mindful Cash Management and Expansion Over Restriction, Being Aware, and Creating Automations. Okay, very good. Yay, it worked. I don't know why it didn't work the first time. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. All right. Okay. Oh, so let me just stop. Let's see. No collaborators and no editing. There we go. All right. because we got little squiggle lines. Okay, there we go. All right, we got it now. So what he talks about is increasing the right expenses. Let's make this a little bigger. Can actually lead to building wealth. So put in the chat for me, what do y'all think are the right expenses to increase? Let me know in the chat. What are some of the expenses that are going to lead to more wealth and more profit? Put it in the chat. Let me know. We're going to put that on here. And while we do that, I'm going to set it for the next segment. So we're going to put this segment over here to the side, and we are going to do a new text. I know we're not using a pen because we're not going to be here all night. Me and the pen, we don't really do too well together. It takes forever. All right. Anybody know what some good expenses are that can lead to wealth and profit? Nobody? You said eat all of the above. Okay. Right, Jen? Expansion over restriction. It sounds like Tasha pedagogy. And actually that's in the book. Funny thing. But that is definitely something that Tasha would say. All right. So invest more. Thank you, Denise. Any amount of money that's going towards assets, investing, that is definitely an expense that you want to accelerate. So there's four different categories of expenses. Okay, and I really like how he breaks this down. The first is destructive expenses. So let me know in the chat, what are some destructive expenses? What do y'all think? Okay, so going back to the first question, Jen says increase your IRA and life insurance contributions. I love that. Yep. Those are definitely great expenses to have. And I don't like to look at them as expenses. I call them investments, right? Because it's investing in your future and what you actually want to see happen. So we have four categories of expenses. So this is probably very basic for y'all, but in case you have young people that you're teaching, and then even in some cases you want to reevaluate some of your spending. Gucci, Simone, you put destructive. Well, it depends, right? So, number one is destructive expenses. So these are expenses that involve borrowing to consume or overdraft fees. So if you're borrowing just to get something that you don't need, that's destructive, right? It creates poverty versus prosperity. The second one is lifestyle expenses. Okay. So this is normal, right? Well, Simone, Gucci can be an investment if, maybe down the line you decide you're gonna, um, it could become vintage and, maybe it could work, possibly, right? Lifestyle expenses are things you need, right? You need utilities, you need a roof over your head, transportation, things of that nature, right? These are essentials. Also, this includes things like vacation. This is Simone in my love language. We love to travel. You're not going to see me shopping all the time. That's not what I want to do with my money. I would rather catch flights. Okay. Yes, in some cases, yes, Denise, a car note can be destructive, right? Because if you have a high APR, right, annual percentage rate, if like I've seen people with $700-800 a month car notes. It's actually seen people without over $1,000 car notes, and I was like, wow. Okay, I was like, wow, like I didn't know what over 1,000. I was like, okay. I mean, there's a lot that I could be doing with that money. I was just like, no. Jen says lifestyle expenses like ordering Grubhub every day. So here's what the author recommends on lifestyle expenses. And I realize that it's delayed on YouTube because I can see like side by side. Um, he said these lifestyle expenses that include vacation and things that are fun and create memories, but don't build tangible assets. He recommends using cash for things like vacations and experiences. I agree with that. That's what I do for my vacations. They are funded with cash. Exactly, Sabal. Catch flights, not feelings. You speaking my language. Now, his other thing, which I completely agree with, is never borrow to consume. Now, I ain't gonna tell y'all that I've never done it before. I have, right? But I fundamentally don't think that that's the best strategy because it can get out of control really quickly. And then the third type of expense is protective expenses. So, what are some things that y'all think are protective expenses? I wish the YouTube would catch up so y'all can see. What are some protective expenses? Let me put my phone on do not disturb here. Anybody got some recommendations on that one? All right, let's see how we can get this showing on YouTube. See if I move this down and I move this over, will that allow y'all to see it? Okay, we're gonna do what I did last time, which is stop sharing and then reshare again. That way. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that. See, sometimes you just gotta play around with things and just be a little patient. Nobody had, okay, awesome. So Denise says various insurance policies. Absolutely. What else? What else? These basically to give you a definitions. This is any expense where you transfer the risk from yourself and your personal assets onto somebody else. Jen! Yes, Jen, I guess so. I'm not even gonna tell y'all what Jen said because you need to be here live. Yes, Simone says health and life insurance. Yes, but it is. Yes, I agree, Jen. 100% is definitely protective. 100%. Yes, 100% protective. I'm not gonna tell y'all what she said. That's why you need to come live. Okay. So we got the protective expenses. That is transferring risk. So that's life insurance, disability insurance, health insurance, right? We have homeowners insurance, renters insurance, car insurance, all of the insurances to protect your assets. Okay. And then also what we just got through talking about with Simone's group is estate planning, right? Because we literally just got through talking about people having assets, but because they didn't have a trust and will and directives in place, how family assets were lost in one generation just like that. So it's very important that you think about your estate planning as well. And then the last one is productive expenses, right? So, I mean, these are things that I'm sure we all have in place, but I like how he categorizes them into these categories, right? Because again, it helps us to kind of think about where we may want to restructure in order to build our capital base, right? Because it's not that we're restricting, right? We want expansion over restriction, but we want to expand in what areas? What would y'all say out of the 4 areas? Where would you want to expand over restrict? Let me know in the chat. Where would you want to expand over restrict? So let's see. Simone said vacations are protective expenses. Actually, for me, they are because you know what? It keeps me being a nice human being. It's good for my mental health. It is great for my mental health. Okay. So for me to go on a vacation. Okay. Listen, in some countries, welcome, Anita. You can use the chat for any communications. So I in some countries, they actually deemed vacation necessary for mental health. And I 100% agree. Because I have my master's is in uh counseling, and I 100% agree that that needs to be the case. People need to take breaks and vacations. That is my personal opinion, and I back it up 100%. Okay, so we got productive expenses. So if we are going into expansion mode, let me know in the chat of these categories, what type of expenses do we want to increase if we're going into expansion mode? Is it destructive, lifestyle, protective, or productive? Because I know it's delayed on YouTube. Where do we want to? What do we want? Where do we want to go? Thank you. Denise agrees with me. She says that, yes, mental health is important. and vacations will help. Anybody? Where do you want to expand? Do you want to expand in which area? Ooh, so Simone says research states you must detach vacation every 6 to 8 weeks. I actually do, Simone. So I'm just like, hey, it's great. My life is great. Um, so I would say, since no one is volunteering, I would say you want to increase protective and productive expenses. Okay. So let's see if I go like this. Let me see if we can get this on this. Yep, exactly, Denise. Protection, life, and health. All right, so let's keep on going. He says, if you put $1 into a productive expense, more than $1 comes out on the other side. That's this one right here. So let's talk about what productive expenses are. These are expenses that allow you to expand your cash flow, grow your business, and build assets. They could be investments in your business, like hiring a great employee, or they might be related to developing skill sets. So, for example, I spend a lot of money on coaching, right? Because it helps me to be a better human being, a better business owner. Um, but my husband sees it as a destructive expense. I'm like, look, I think it's a productive expense because this is helping me do things. Um, Very good, Jen. So Jen said she detached and didn't even have to travel. So for me, I have to travel because I have to get out of my environment in order to have my mind at ease. For those of you who know me, you know why. But I got to go. I got to get on. I ain't got to go home, but I got to get up out of here. Yep, yeah, Jen. So he says if you put $1 into a productive expense, more than $1 comes out the other side. Any investment that is an asset that creates cash flow and appreciates can be classified as a productive expense. So this is an interesting conundrum, I guess, so to speak. You know, when people are like, "Oh, my house is an asset," it does build equity, right? It can be, but there's also the school of thought that it's not producing cash flow, right? Well, unless it is, right? So like my house is producing cash flow. Um, and that's when it becomes an asset. But if you're paying expenses out and you have a mortgage, in the sense it's a liability, but it has equity in it that you can turn into um possibly turn into a way to build your capital base and build additional assets. So that is always a very interesting school of thought on different sides. Um, possible. Listen, I'll be like, you worry about you, I'm gonna worry about me. Okay. Yeah. But I'll be like, worry about me too, but not in that way. All right. So we already broke that down. So his point here is prioritizing your investing. He says when managing your finances, make sure that you invest in yourself, right? So investing, remember, always pay yourself first. Okay. And then you also want to make sure that you are investing. Those things need to come first. So Simone says protective expenses help prevent loss of coins. Productive expenses help create more coins. I like that. That is good. There we go, Simone. You got it. Perfect. All right. So let's keep going. So he says the goal of mindful cash management, this is where we started earlier today, is to eliminate destructive expenses. So we want to get rid of this, right? This is where we are trying to get rid of, right? Anything like like payments, interest only payments in some cases, right? Where you never see the principal going down. Managing lifestyle expenses, right? So he said anything like lifestyle, like fun things, you want to pay cash for those if whenever possible, and you want to address protective expenses, right? Because you don't want to build all these assets and then a catastrophic event happens and now everything's gone, right? You got to protect what you build, and then you want to increase productive expenses. He said before you start accumulating money in a retirement account, make sure that you have built your financial foundation and plugged your financial leaks. Focus on creating a state of economic independence where your assets create enough cash flow to cover your expenses before locking your money away on speculating with it. So when you think about your financial house, let me see if I can show y'all my financial house illustration fast because it's a document that I have and I should have pulled this up, but I didn't think about it until just now. Let's see, financial house. And normally when I knew it was gonna not do what I wanted it to do. Um, when I am vending, right? And I have a table and everything set up, I actually have a illustration of what a financial house looks like. So give me like 2 second, 2 minute, a minute or so to see if I can find that house illustration. See if I can just type house. That's probably too vague of a word. Let's see. Nope, it's not in that document. Oh, wait, is this it? Maybe, maybe. Let's see. Come on. Yay! Okay, this is it. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen and I'm going to show y'all the financial house. So this is a document that I share and then hopefully it'll come onto YouTube in a moment because I realize it's a lag between what's happening in Zoom and what's happening on YouTube. So this is your complete financial home. Okay, I really, really like this illustration because we're building foundations, right? And so when you think about what your foundation is your emergency fund, right? And so he talks about he says, you want to have a peace of mind fund. And he said that this includes having 6 months of liquid savings. So he said 6 months of liquid savings, a life insurance cash value can be 3 months of the 6 months, and money for emergency preparedness. So this right here is our foundation, emergency fund, and then obviously crafting your will, right? So that's really important. Thank you, Jen. I knew you would love this. Okay, let me see if I can make this look better because I don't like all these extra things in the way. Make it look good. There we go. All right. So we have already talked about a lot of this, right? This is your foundation down here. You also want to talk about tax strategies. We're not going to get in or think about that. We're not going to get into that today. Remember, this was our protective expenses. And then he said you want to have all of this handled and then getting into your retirement strategies as well as moving into your investment strategies, right? Now, I kind of think about doing things simultaneously because you don't want to wait too long. Like, for example, if it's going to take you 5 years to build up your emergency fund, you may not want to wait 5 years to start funding your retirement because you lose out on compound interest. So again, I have some differing views, but I understand where he's coming from. If you're like very tight on money, I get that. So, essentially, he said without this foundation, everything is exposed, right? So I like what he said. He broke it down, and I actually took a note. Where did I do the note? I really like in Kindle, you can do notes. He said 1 month can be in cash and precious metals in your home, right? Because just in case, like, with everything going on, God knows, like if we can have access to money in banks, you want to have at least some cash or something that you can tangibly get to. Then he said have 3 months in your cash value life insurance policy because it only takes about, it could take two to 5 days to get your money out of your life insurance policy, right? If you have cash value. And then the rest you will have in your savings account, high yield savings account. He says, let's see where you have already built wealth. He says to grow your wealth, it is key to create cash flow and take an active role in the process of finding investments in areas you are driven to learn about and that utilize your competencies. So not everybody wants to invest in the same way. Some people don't want to do real estate. Some people don't want to do the stock market, but find a lane, right? Find your investment strategy and your asset allocation that is going to bring you the cash flow that you need today, as well as the cash flow that you need tomorrow, and learn about it. So We're about out of time. Oh, we are out of time. Lord have mercy. I do recommend because there's like I only got through the first few pages of this chapter. He does have cash flow recovery strategies in here. Um, and those are really, really important. So I do recommend if you don't have the book that you get the book and read these because they are really great. Like how you can kind of leverage loans and things of that nature and how you can improve your cash flow through the use of your life insurance policy. But the main thing that I'll leave you with today, because I know that was a lot. I really want to make sure that you understood all the key components of your financial house, right? And building those up to protect. And then my apologies. And then making sure that we are eliminating any destructive expenses and reallocating to our productive and protective expenses. And again, if you need any assistance with estate planning or insurance protection or retirement planning, you are always welcome to reach out to me on my website and have a complimentary financial needs analysis. Um, I put my website here is beyondthebusyness.com. And then also you can don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And please come every week. So we're almost done with the book. After that, I'm going to be starting a series on being work optional, right? Where we going to be like Errol and we are going to only have to spend 2 hours a week working. So that is going to be my series coming up. And I'm working on that. So and we're gonna work on it together. I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna get there. So we working on it. Well, thank y'all for joining, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Good night.